Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we want to seek the blessings of Radha Madhav, Radha Shyam Sundar, Krishna Balaram, Bal Gopal, Nrsimha Bhagwan, Jagannath Baladev, Subhadra, Gaunitai, Tulsi Mani, Haridas Thakur, Guru Parampara, Srila Prabhupada, and Guru Maharaj, and the assembled devotees. So we yesterday, oh no, day before I think, or maybe the day before that, I can't remember now. We talked about the pastimes of Daksha and Sati, and how Lord Shiva was very merciful to Daksha, and how Sati came again as Parvati. So we're moving on. Chapter 8 is about Dhruv Maharaj, leaves for the forest. Again, a wonderful devotee of the Lord. Another son of Brahma, irreligion, along with his wife, Falsity, created a dynasty of the causes of the devastation. So this part of the creation is like the backside of the Lord. And that is irreligion, falsity, because this is the material world. And material world will have all of these factors included. And ultimately, these factors will also lead to the destruction of the material of the universes. Each set of children married each other, producing a succeeding generation. Irreligion's two children, bluffing and cheating, produced greed and cunning, who produced anger and envy, who produced kali and harsh speech, who produced death and fear, who produced excessive pain and hell. So that's the dynasty of irreligion. One son of Manu, King Uttampad, had two wives and two sons, Dhruva and Uttam. The name of the two wives were Suniti and Suruchi, the latter being the king's favored wife. One day when Dhruv was trying to climb on the lap of his father, Suruchi, the mother of Uttama, enviously told Dhruv that he was unfit to sit on either the king's lap or the throne until he took birth from her womb. So she was a little arrogant. And Uttampad, the father, he was happy to play with both children. But Suruchi became envious of Dhruv, and she forbade him to do that. Although the king was equally affectionate towards both sons, because of Suruchi, he was silent. So, this is King Uttampad, and this is Dhruv here, Uttam and Suruchi. You can see Uttam, Dhruv, young boy, but he looks pretty angry. Okay, so, upset and angry, Dhruv tearfully went to his mother, who embraced him on her lap. After hearing what happened, she was aggrieved and advised her son to fulfill his desire. In order to fulfill his desire, he should worship the Supreme Lord. What was his desire? To have a throne greater than his grandfather's. And his grandfather is Brahma. Right? That was he wanted that. So he should worship the Supreme Lord and always keep him in his heart, and without being envious of Suruchi or his brother, nor inflicting pain upon others. So this is really important advice. When somebody does something against us, our Guru Maharaj always used to say, ignore that. Forget it, in fact. Forget it. If somebody does something against you, forget it. If you do something good for somebody, forget that as well. Because you will always have some expectations from that person. You've done something good for them, you'll have an expectation from them. And if they don't meet up to your expectation, you'll be sad and unhappy. So if you want a peaceful life, you do something good for somebody, forget it straight away. If somebody does bad to you, Forget that as well. Otherwise, you'll be always thinking about revenge, hatred. And that's a slippery slope. It's not going to help from the spiritual or material point of view. Seeing the proud child, Dhruv. Now, Dhruv, although he was young, maybe 5 years old, if even younger, he was born as a Kshatriya, a warrior. Seeing the proud child, Dhruv, leaving to perform austerities. So as soon as he heard what his mother said, right, I need to worship the Supreme Lord. Okay, I'm going to go to the forest. Narad Muni was astonished because he arrived at that time to see the boy leave the palace. He was astonished how such a young Kshatriya could not tolerate the insult and tested his resolve by trying to dissuade Dhruv from going to the forest. With sweet words, Narad explained how difficult it was to please the Supreme Lord by the process of mystic meditation. He told Dhruv to go home, and when he grew up, he could think of following this path. Better to tolerate and be satisfied in happiness and distress. So, Narad Muni was testing the boy. Although appreciating Narad's instructions to return home, Dhruv expressed his inability to follow the sage's advice due to his Kshatriya temperament. So Kshatriyas are born like this from a young age. Especially if the pedigree is strong. Uttampad was son of Brahma. So instead, Dhruv asks how he can attain the goal of achieving the most exalted position in the universe, more exalted than even his great-grandfather, Lord Brahma. That's what he wanted, a kingdom greater than Brahma, his own great-grandfather. Confirming the advice of Dhruv's mother, Narad encourages him. Okay, so you want to go to the forest, although you are a young child. I'll tell you how to do it. He encourages him to perform devotional service to Lord Vasudev's lotus feet and to go to the bank of the Yamuna, where the Lord resides eternally. There he should bathe 3 times daily in the Yamuna's sacred waters while performing Astanga Yoga. Now, Astanga Yoga is the sitting posture or the standing postures with breath control. Very hard to achieve. This is the yoga which Krishna told Arjun in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And then Arjun said, wow, it's impossible. Cannot do it. So you can just imagine how difficult it is. But this young boy, he was so determined. Free from material contaminations, Narad recommended Dhruv to meditate on the Lord with an undisturbed mind. So this is Narad Muni blessing the boy, Dhruv, young lad. Narad then described the Lord's form, which is very beautiful, and with his happy disposition, beautiful bodily features, many ornaments and 4 arms holding his divine symbols. And we often see this beautiful picture of the 4-handed Vishnu. So many wonderful pictures are done of paintings are done. Narad then advises that along with meditation, Dhruv should chant a secret mantra, which he speaks into his right ear. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Very, very powerful mantra. And this same mantra was meditated upon by Prahlad Maharaj. And Prahlad Maharaj is gold standard when it comes to devotees, as is Dhruv. He also describes how to install the Lord's deity and offer the Lord fruits, flowers, tulsi leaves, and water. So this is something that we can all do, right? We may not be able to do the Astanga Yoga. We may not be able to do many things which Dhruv did. But there are things Narada advises to Dhruv that we can do. We can chant the mantras. We can have deities And we can offer the Lord fruits, flowers, tulsi leaves, water. We can do aarti every single day. Whatever we cook, we can offer it to the Lord every single day. Narad describes how Dhruv should meditate on the Lord's pastimes. Thus the Lord will fulfill all his aspirations up to the attainment of liberation. So very good advice. So he is now initiated by one of the greatest devotees of the Lord, Narad Muni. This is what initiation means. The disciple asks humbly, and the guru departs knowledge and accepts the person as his disciple. That's what's happened here. Accepting Narad as his spiritual master, Dhruv requests permission to leave, circumambulates, and offers obeisances to Narad. Visiting the palace. So now Narad goes to see Uttanpad. What's happened? He finds the anxious king lamenting and regretting his unkind dealings with Dhruv. Because actually the king should have been strong enough to say to his wife, no, I will treat my children equally. But he was under the control of his wife, Suruchi, because she was his favored wife. So even a great king like Uttampad, such an elevated soul, was controlled by his senses. So, what to speak of us? Because of his attachment to his wife and his subsequent cruel neglect, the king felt Dhruv might now be in great danger, as he is unprotected in the forest, might be hungry, tired, and wild animals may be attacking him. But Narad Muni explained to the king the exalted position of Dhruv. So Narad Muni already assessed this boy is something else. How Dhruv would become famous for his success and how he was being protected by the Lord. Narad explained to the king that his son was very competent, and after performing tasks difficult even for demigods, i.e., to satisfy the Supreme Lord, he will soon return home. Hearing this, the king became absorbed in thoughts of his son Dhruv. So, arriving at Madhuvan, Madhuvan actually is in the Brajabhumi area near Vrindavan, very sacred place. Dhruv begins his austerities. Young boy, extraordinary child, fellow. So the first month, he eats some fruits every 3 days. Wow. Second month, he eats dry grass and leaves every 6 days. Third month, he drinks only water every 9 days. This is austerity at its extreme. Fourth month, he takes a breath every 12 days. My goodness. Fixing his mind on the Lord, he stands on one leg. Feeling the weight of his austerities, the earth trembles when devotees or even demons do such austerities. There's an impact in the universe. When Hiranyakashipu was standing up with his hands up on his toes for thousands of years, it caused a disbalance in the universe. And Brahma had to come and pacify him. The same here. The austerities are so grave that the devotee has the effect of causing a disbalance. As he holds his breath, the entire universe begins to suffocate. This is the power of austerity. Due to his concentration on the Lord, he became the total heaviness. Due to his spiritual power, his body unit became the total body of the universe. This is hard for us to comprehend, but this is what can happen when a devotee is so fixed on the Supreme Lord. He can cause a terrible disbalance. When the demigods approach the Lord for shelter, he explained that the disturbances they feel are due to Dhruv's austerity. So the Lord is is in the heart, he knows. He promises to stop him soon by giving Dhruv his personal darshan. There's a glimpse, sometimes he did eat a little bit. Chapter 9. This is the Lord giving Dhruv his darshan. And Garud is next to him. Dhruv Maharaj returns home. The Lord, seated on Garud, then visited Dhruv. This incarnation is known as Prishnigarbha, who created the planet known as Dhruvlok for the habitation of Dhruv. So Dhruv wanted a planet or a kingdom greater than that of his great-grandfather, Brahma. So he got a planet called Dhruvlok. And Dhruvlok exists eternally. It's in this material world, but it exists eternally. So he got his desire. Being overwhelmed at seeing him, Dhruv, in ecstasy, drank in the Lord's form. Although wishing to offer prayers, he could not do so. With the touch of the Lord's concha to his forehead, Dhruv attained full awareness of the Vedic conclusion. This is the mercy of the Lord. Immediately he gave Dhruv full knowledge. He was a child after all. How can he have full knowledge? But now he's got full knowledge. And now he can also offer suitable prayers. Thanking the Lord for enlivening his senses, Dhruv praised him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the inspirer of Lord Brahma and the shelter of all. Dhruv lamented his previous desires for temporary material boons from the Lord. He begged the Lord instead for the association of devotees, for protection from material desires, and for his sweet devotional service. So this is the example. So Dhruv, he wanted kingdom greater than Lord Brahma. So, but when he saw the Lord, he immediately realized that he was looking for glass, broken pieces of glass, but he found the diamond. So whatever he wanted was useless. A kingdom greater than Brahma was no good because the Lord, he had attained the Lord. Instead of getting broken glass, he got the diamond, the Lord. So it's a great lesson for us to learn because we are on the devotional path. And sometimes on the devotional path, we may have a desire, material desires, or some desire. Even that desire is connected to serve to the Lord, but we want something to, be successful so that we can serve the Lord. Actually, it's not the ideal scenario. Best thing is simply having appreciation of the Supreme Lord, thanking him for everything he does for us, begging him for prema bhakti, devotion, begging him for sadhu sang, and also requesting, please, don't let me be misled by material desires. Protect me from my desires. Even though difficult to attain, the Lord awarded Dhruv the pole star, which is worshipped by all in this universe. He also installed him as the king of the earth for 36,000 years. With continuous youth, and finally at the end of his life, Dhruv would go to the Lord's eternal planet, Dhruvlok, from which he will never return. So this is the Lord's mercy. There's Dhruvlok. So this is an idea of the structure of the universe. We have the 14 planetary systems, and we have where Shirodaksha Vishnu lives as well. It's part of this material world. It's like an embassy. Another embassy is Dhruvlok. It's the pole star. But that's an eternal planet of the Lord. Doesn't get destroyed when this universe gets destroyed. And our Dhruv is also where the Lord lives. Shirodakshaya Vishnu, in this world. So when the demigods go to see him, they come here. And even then, the demigods cannot see him because he's very bright, effulgent. Only Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva have the potential to have darshan of the Lord. Despite these boons, Dhruv sadly returns home. Why is he sad? Vidur was surprised, asking why, as Dhruv had within a few months achieved something very rare. Why was he sad? Well, Dhruv felt he had wasted the opportunity of seeing the Lord, because instead of asking for a spiritual benediction, he desired illusory material opulence. Dhruv felt that he was like a foolish poor man who asked for a few grains of broken rice from the emperor, praying for useless things which are like a medicine to a dead man. Just imagine you meet the emperor or the king, and he says to you, "What do you want?" Oh, just there's one example of somebody who was met by the king. He just dropped his load on the ground because it was heavy that he was carrying. So he said to the king, "Please, can you put that load back on my back?" You could have asked for a village or a mansion or a palace. What did he ask for? Just put that rubbish back on my back again, please. This is our position, unfortunately. We're also looking for that broken glass when we should be actually focusing on the diamond, which is the Supreme Lord. Delighted to hear his son was returning home, King Uttampad went to greet Dhruv in a golden chariot accompanied by Suniti and a large entourage. Surichi was not favored by the king, but Suniti was very gracious and allowed her and Uttam to ride. And now she was very gracious, so he allowed her and Uttam to ride in her palanquin. Tightly embracing their now self-realized son, the king and queen cried. Dhruv bowed down to his parents, father and mothers, embraced his brother. Everyone loved him now, even Mother Surichi. Since she had been touched by the Supreme Lord, he had been touched by the Supreme Lord himself and manifested all transcendental qualities. Accompanied by his relatives and palace residents, Dhruv and his brother returned to the city riding on an elephant. The city was festively decorated with trees, fruits, flowers, lamps, festoons. All the city's ladies greeted Dhruv, sprinkled him with auspicious items, including grains and flowers. Living in stately opulence, Dhruv grew to manhood. Being both mature and popular, he was enthroned by his father as the world's emperor. After leaving the kingdom in the hands of his son, King Uttampad left for the forest to detach himself from worldly affairs. So we'll stop there. Any questions? Any comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, when Dhruv met the Supreme Lord, he didn't ask for anything, did he?
No.
See, that king, the Supreme Lord just blessed him.
Yeah. He blessed him. His desires were fulfilled. You want a kingdom greater than your great-grandfather? You can have Dhruv.
Okay, that was given to him.
That was given to him.
And that's why it was said that he shouldn't have asked for. He should have asked for
That's
spiritual.
three things he should have asked for. Sadhu Sang, Bhakti.
Refrain from material attachment.
And that's the one. That's right. Protection. Yeah. So that's a very good, that's good sort of guideline for us,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good guideline.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Shyamini.
Yeah, Prabhu. So you said here it says that Dhruva Maharaj, he became the emperor. So, but the Dhruv Lok, it still exists, and
Yes.
Is he there? He lives there?
Yes. Yes. After his time was up, 36,000 years, after that, he was taken to Dhruvlok. He's there eternally. And
Oh,
that's part of the spiritual world. Although it's in the material world, it's
is
actually eternal.
it? Okay, can we see? Because someone was, in the night, you can see
The pole
near
star.
the.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that the one?
Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah.
That is the one. That's right. But
Okay.
it's not easy. It's not easy. But yeah, that is the one.
Wow. Oh, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Very
Hare
nice.
Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Pravin.
How are you? Right?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. My question is, like, is it Dhruva Lok? Is it a planet?
Yes. And in that planet lives Vishnu, Shirodakshai Vishnu, and Dhruv also is there with many other souls.
And they are still there.
Oh yeah, eternal.
Eternal.
Yeah.
Right.
Eternally there.
Yeah, not
So do
very
you
nice
mean
because you have said this. We have learned about this
Yeah.
last year, and same thing we are learning again. So it just
Sort of.
freshen up the mind.
Sort of. Yeah. Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah. Thank you, Hare Krishna,
Prabhuji?
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Prabhu. When you say the Lord also is there, is that an expansion of Vishnu?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Shirodakshai, the
Yeah,
Paramatma.
that's right.
Paramatma.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Prabhu.
He's
Okay.
resident there. And that's where the demigods, especially Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, can visit. Well, they can visit only up to the Svetadweep, the ocean. They can't go beyond the ocean.
Sweater deep. Okay.
That's right.
Sorry, I don't quite understand. So they can visit from Sweater deep, which means it's before Dhruv. They can't go actually on Dhruv itself.
They can go and do law, but they can't go to where the Lord is.
Okay.
He's in the ocean of milk. So they go to just at the border of the ocean of milk, the Shwetadweep.
Okay.
And they can't see the Lord necessarily because he's so effulgent. But the Lord gives them the darshan. He doesn't give the demigods the darshan. So,
All right. Very interesting. Thank you, Prabhu.
thank you. Okay, thank you so much. Hare Krishna, everybody. Srimad Bhagavad Puran ki jai.